All right, so we're diving into Planetary Citizens Strategic Plan.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, when I first looked this over, I was a little bit skeptical.
I can see that.
A podcast
Right.
as part of a plan for planetary harmony.
Yeah.
It sounded a little ambitious.
Well, they definitely are ambitious.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all about global citizenship and sustainable development.
Yeah.
Even this idea of like consciousness evolution
Whoa.
to try to achieve planetary harmony.
So they're not just relying on traditional activism.
Right. And that's what's really interesting is they're bringing in their podcast.
Yeah, their podcast, One World in a New World.
Yeah.
Which I gotta say, anything with a good podcast title like that,
Right.
I'm already interested.
Of course.
But it's more than just a platform for their apocalyptic chats now.
Right. It's really central to their strategy.
Yeah.
Their plan outlines how they're going to use this podcast to amplify their message, to build community,
Right.
attract funding.
Yeah, it's a really multifaceted approach.
Yeah.
So phase one seems to be all about laying the groundwork, creating podcast episodes around themes like global citizenship, sustainable development, and they're bringing on guests that are connected to planetary citizens, board members, activists.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's going to resonate with a wider audience?
That's a good question.
Or is it going to feel too insular?
It could run the risk of preaching to the choir if they're not careful.
Yeah.
I think to be really effective, they need to strike a balance between showcasing their own expertise and bringing in outside voices to broaden the appeal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, they're also planning these interactive elements, like live Q&A sessions and community challenges. I always love interactive content. But, you know, to pull that off successfully takes a lot of planning and resources.
It does.
Do you think that they're equipped to handle that?
Well, it's definitely a potential pitfall.
Yeah.
Live events can be tricky.
Yeah.
Especially when you're aiming for global participation across different time zones.
Exactly.
I think they're going to need a really dedicated team and a solid technical infrastructure to ensure a smooth execution.
Yeah, and a good experience.
And a positive user experience.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, beyond just engagement, they're also talking about using the podcast to build a global community, calls to action in the episodes, dedicated online spaces, even co-branded events.
Wow.
It's a big goal, turning listeners into active participants.
It is.
Given the scope of their mission, do you think that's realistic?
It's definitely ambitious.
Yeah.
But, you know, building a genuine community takes more than just providing a platform. You have to foster this sense of shared purpose, belonging, trust. So they'll need to create this environment where diverse voices feel heard and valued, and that meaningful connections can be forged.
Yeah, it's a tall order.
It is.
But I admire their commitment to trying to do it.
I do too.
Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Money movements need resources.
Yes, they do.
And Planetary Citizens is looking to this podcast to help attract funding and partnerships.
That's right. They're aiming to leverage their audience to attract sponsors, advertisers who align with their mission.
Right.
Now, it's a smart approach if they can find the right partners.
Yeah, if they're genuine.
Yeah, businesses that are genuinely committed to sustainability. And global citizenship.
Not just greenwashing.
Not just greenwashing, exactly. Yeah.
So they're also thinking about crowdfunding campaigns tied to podcast milestones.
Oh, right.
So celebrating successes while raising funds. And then they're also planning to use their combined reach, both the podcast and the organization, to apply for grants from like-minded foundations.
Right. And diversifying their funding sources is essential. For any nonprofit. Especially
one with these ambitious goals.
Exactly.
So they're demonstrating their impact, engaging their community, and then making a case for support. Okay, so they've laid the groundwork, secured resources. Now it's time to expand the reach. Now they're not just limiting themselves to audio. They're thinking video interviews.
Interesting.
Mini documentaries.
Wow.
Animated explainers.
That's cool.
It's quite the multimedia vision.
It is.
What do you think of this approach?
I think it's crucial to meet people where they are. And these days, that means embracing a variety of media formats.
Yeah.
Visual content can be incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
For storytelling and conveying complex information in a way that's engaging.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're also looking to partner with other media outlets, organizations, influencers, anyone who shares their vision to reach a wider audience.
That makes sense.
Do you think that this kind of collaboration
I do.
Is essential for their success?
Absolutely. Building those strategic partnerships is key to amplifying their message, reaching new audiences.
Yeah.
By collaborating with others, they can tap into existing networks.
Right.
Leverage the credibility and reach of established platforms.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Now, it all sounds great in theory.
Sure.
But execution is key.
Absolutely.
They understand the importance of investing in high-quality audio video production for the podcast, creating a professional experience
important.
That attracts a larger audience. Yeah. And you and I, we both value that.
Absolutely.
But it goes beyond just aesthetics. Accessibility and inclusivity are paramount.
Very important.
And they're committed to offering transcripts, translations, audio descriptions.
Good.
Which is commendable.
Yeah, I think that's great.
It ensures that their content can be accessed and enjoyed by a global audience, regardless of language or ability.
That's important.
Yeah. Okay, so phase 1 is all about setting the stage.
Right.
But phase 2, this is where things get really exciting.
Okay.
They're calling it phase 2 operations.
Right.
And it focuses on deepening engagement online.
Okay.
And building a global community. Now, you've always been interested in how technology can be used to connect people around shared values. So I think you'll find this particularly fascinating.
Okay, good.
They're aiming to transform their website, planetarycitizens.net, into a vibrant online hub.
Okay.
Where people from all over the world can connect, learn, and collaborate on creating a more sustainable and harmonious future.
Sounds great.
It does. Yeah. And it sounds right up your alley.
I think so.
Given your passion for online communities and collaborative projects. So they're talking about hosting these weekly dialogue series on global citizenship, sustainable living, even spiritual awakening.
Interesting.
All using platforms like Zoom,
Yeah.
live streaming to social media for maximum reach.
Right.
Now, I know you're a big believer in the power of online dialogues.
I am.
So I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Well, I think it's a great way to create a sense of real-time connection and to facilitate deeper conversations than you might get on a podcast or through written content.
Yeah.
But I think the key is going to be moderation.
Right.
How do they plan to create a space that's both open and inclusive, but also ensures respectful dialogue?
That's always the challenge with any online forum.
It is. It is.
They're also bringing in these special guest panels, right?
With thought leaders, innovators, even spiritual guides.
Interesting.
Now, they mentioned this, integral relativity of consciousness and the creation of conscious civilizations.
Wow.
Now, these concepts sound a bit out there even for me.
I know.
Can you shed some light?
I can try.
On what they might be getting at.
Well, I think integral relativity of consciousness sounds like it could be drawing from integral theory, which attempts to integrate different perspectives, disciplines into like a holistic understanding of reality.
Okay.
As for conscious civilizations, it might refer to societies that prioritize awareness, compassion, interconnectedness in their decision-making processes.
Okay.
It's certainly an intriguing concept.
It is.
Yeah.
And speaking of intriguing concepts, they mentioned rotating themes based on community input.
Okay.
So they're looking at areas like science and spirituality, sustainable economies, and wisdom from ancient texts. Okay, so things like the Vedas, the Tao Te Ching, and the Emerald Tablets.
Oh, wow.
Which always reminds me of Indiana Jones.
Of course.
What do you make of this mix of ancient wisdom and modern challenges?
Well, I think it's a recognition that the challenges we face today require a multifaceted approach, drawing on both ancient wisdom and modern innovation.
Right.
I think there's a growing interest in integrating spiritual practices, ethical frameworks into our approaches to sustainability and social justice.
It's not just about talking, though.
Okay.
They're also planning these workshops and educational programs to empower participants with practical tools for personal growth, community building, and collaborative innovation.
That's great.
So workshop modules on self-discovery, global citizenship training seem fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
But quantum leadership.
Quantum leadership.
What is that all about? I don't know. Does this involve teleporting ourselves out of meetings we don't want to attend?
I wish.
I know, right?
I would love that.
But
yeah.
It seems to be a new approach to leadership. That integrates principles of quantum physics and holistic thinking. So it likely involves concepts like interconnectedness, nonlinearity, and the power of observation to shape reality.
Interesting. I think they mentioned a source navigating holistic growth.
Right.
That might offer some clues.
Maybe.
Well, I love a good book recommendation, so I'll definitely be checking that out.
Okay, good.
Now they're even developing certification programs to highlight leadership skills for those who complete the workshop series.
That makes sense.
It's like they're creating a whole curriculum for planetary citizenship.
They are, and it's smart.
Yeah.
Providing structured learning pathways.
Right.
And recognizing achievements can incentivize participation, create a sense of progress for those involved.
Right.
It also helps build credibility for their program.
Absolutely. To support the learning process, they're creating ebooks, downloadable guides, essentially a whole library of resources to deepen understanding and inspire action.
That's key.
Yeah.
That's a key component of any successful online learning program.
Right.
Making resources readily accessible and engaging is crucial for keeping people motivated, deepening their understanding.
They're even thinking about expanding their current podcasts into a thematic web series, exploring concepts like the role of synchronicity in human evolution.
Wow.
And then to capture the collective wisdom of the community. They're planning a biannually community journal with contributions from members and insights from events and discussions.
That's cool.
It's ambitious, to say the least.
It is. It is.
Do you think they're spreading themselves too thin?
It's a lot to juggle, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the key is going to be prioritization. And resource allocation. They need to focus on developing high-quality content, experiences that truly engage their community, rather than trying to do too much too soon.
Right.
But I do admire their creative spirit, willingness to experiment with different formats.
Okay, so to support this vision, they're placing a strong emphasis on integrating technology. They're considering immersive events in virtual worlds. To create a more dynamic and participatory experience.
Interesting.
So it's not just Zoom meetings. They're envisioning virtual spaces where people can connect and collaborate in new ways, given your interest in emerging technologies.
Right.
I'm curious to hear what you think about this.
I think it's a brilliant idea. Virtual worlds offer this unique opportunity to foster a sense of presence. Embodiment, shared experience that can be difficult to achieve through traditional online platforms.
Right. They can be used for everything, from interactive workshops and simulations to collaborative art projects and community gatherings.
Wow.
The potential is vast.
It is.
Yeah.
They're also considering introducing collaboration platforms like Miro or Asana for ongoing projects, enabling shared whiteboards and project management tools. And they want to create a member-only section on their website with exclusive resources and networking opportunities.
Makes sense.
To foster a deeper sense of community.
Right.
It sounds like they're building a comprehensive digital ecosystem.
It does.
For planetary citizenship.
Yeah.
A place where people can gather, learn, connect, and co-create solutions for a better future. They're pulling out all the stops.
They are.
Now with all these initiatives measuring, their impact is crucial.
It is.
They're planning to use surveys and feedback forms to gather participant input and make sure their programs are meeting the needs of the community.
And they're committed to publishing impact reports, outlining outcomes, connections formed, projects initiated, personal transformations achieved.
That's great.
So it's about accountability and transparency.
It is.
Which is essential for building trust with their community and demonstrating the value of their work.
Yeah, to potential funders and partners.
Exactly.
Right.
So their strategic plan is incredibly detailed, well thought out.
Okay.
They're clearly passionate about their mission.
It seems so.
And they're putting a lot of thought and effort into creating something truly unique and impactful. But there's one aspect we haven't touched on yet.
Okay.
Their approach to what they call apocalyptic chats.
Apocalyptic chats.
So this is where they tackle those challenging conversations around global issues. And I know you have a lot of experience facilitating difficult dialogues.
I do.
I'm curious to hear your take on their strategy.
Okay. Well, it's interesting that they've chosen to label these conversations apocalyptic chats.
Right.
It's definitely attention-grabbing.
Yeah.
But it could also be polarizing.
I was wondering about that myself.
Yeah.
It seems like they're really leaning into the discomfort that often surrounds these global issues.
There's a risk of turning people off.
Yeah.
Or fueling a sense of hopelessness. But I think there's also an opportunity here to create a sense of urgency and inspire action. I think the key is going to be framing these conversations in a way that acknowledges the gravity of the situation, but doesn't resort to fear-mongering or doom and gloom scenarios.
Right. They're not shying away from difficult topics.
No, they're not.
Like climate change, social injustice, potential global upheaval. It's a bold approach.
It is.
And I admire their willingness to address these issues head on.
Me too.
But how do they plan to make these conversations productive and not just a spiral of negativity?
Well, their strategy seems to be centered around creating a safe space for open dialogue, encouraging diverse perspectives, and emphasizing the interconnectedness of these issues. So it's not about pointing fingers, placing blame, but it's about understanding the root causes, exploring potential solutions together.
So it's less about predicting the apocalypse and more about using these apocalyptic themes as a springboard for meaningful conversation and positive action.
Exactly.
I like that they're reframing it in a way that empowers people rather than paralyzing them with fear.
Exactly. They're using the term apocalyptic not in a literal sense, but as a metaphor for the urgent need for change. It's about recognizing that we're at a crossroads and that our choices today will shape the future of humanity.
It's a powerful message.
It is.
Especially for someone like you, who's always been drawn to the idea of creating a more conscious and interconnected world.
It definitely resonates.
It does.
Yeah.
They're not sugarcoating the challenges, but they're also not giving in to despair. It's a message of empowered action, collective responsibility, and ultimately hope.
And it seems to be working.
It does.
They've managed to cultivate this community of engaged individuals who are passionate about making a difference.
Yeah, it's a testament to the power of authenticity and vulnerability.
It is.
By being willing to engage with these difficult conversations in a genuine and open-hearted way. They've created a space where people feel safe to share their own fears and hopes for the future.
Absolutely.
It's a reminder that even in the face of these daunting global issues, we have the power to create a better future.
We do.
And it starts with engaging in these difficult conversations, listening to diverse perspectives, and finding common ground.
Planetary Citizens is offering a blueprint for a more conscious and interconnected future. They're showing us that it's possible to create a global movement for positive change. One conversation, one workshop, one podcast episode at a time.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with a question. What does this all mean for you?
Yeah, what resonates with you most?
You've learned about Planetary Citizens' innovative approach to blending activism, online, community building, and podcasting to tackle some of the world's most pressing issues.
What sparks your curiosity?
Are you inspired to explore the concepts of global citizenship or sustainable living further?
Maybe you're intrigued by the idea of conscious civilizations or quantum leadership.
Or perhaps you're simply wondering how you can contribute to creating a more harmonious and sustainable future for all.
Whatever your takeaway. We encourage you to check out Planetary Citizens' website and their One World in a New World podcast.
Become part of the conversation.
Join the movement.
And let's work together to create a future where humanity thrives. In harmony with our planet.